Hey, girl, hey.
Welcome to It's Not Even Like That.
I'm really excited to be here. This is really, really fun. And congratulations on this podcast, girl.
Thank you.
Look at you.
Thank you. There's so many things to talk about.
Very many.
So many things.
Very many.
So as we tape today, you just happened to have braved the streets of New York City to get here in the middle of No King's Day. So Thank you so much for braving the town.
Listen, no kings, all queens, though.
All queens.
So I was here for this.
Queens all day.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to dive into a lot of things, and I can't wait to talk about the media that you schooled me to.
Yes.
That I watched. That I ate an edible and then watched the show so I could be extra ready for it.
I'm already done with you. I'm done. We're done.
It was a good choice. What? We keep it real. We keep it honest here on It's Not Even Like That podcast. Lachi,
yes,
talented musician. You sing. You write. I mean, you have books. You have a new book that's coming out.
Yes.
And then you're literally one of the funniest people I've ever met. So I don't know how and why it is that you're not a stand-up comedian in addition to all, because the girl is funny.
I couldn't get in front of an audience and do something rehearsed or do a set because I don't know how y'all do that.
Again, you're a musician, author, actress. You've done all these amazing things, but I want to know, where did all this come from? Okay. Where is Lachi from? Tell me your backstory.
Well, my parents are Nigerian,
which is why you do so many things so well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Period.
You don't have a choice.
I have been saying that to people. People are like, how are you so talented? How do you have all this? I'm like, I'm Nigerian.
Yeah.
So, duh. Hello. But anyway, my parents are Nigerian. I was born here, 6 to 7 kids. And, my mom said while other babies were kicking in the womb, I was playing the piano against her womb, when I was a baby. I don't know how she had a piano in there. But she's not a liar, so I just take her word for it. But music has always been a part of who I am since I was super duper young. And as I got older, I didn't really have a lot of friends because, being blind and being not all the way blind, being neurodivergent, I didn't fit in a lot. So I took to the keys and, it would talk to me and I would talk to it. So music has just always been my imaginary friend since I was very young. And so I, of course, would definitely give homage back to music. After I graduated from high school, my parents were like, yeah, is music like when you're a doctor? And I was like, no, that's a different thing. So, of course, I took the straight and narrow path after I graduated, got music is a real job, but got a real job and eventually left it because I was like, I need to follow my passion. And here I am today. Yeah.
Now, do other people in your family play instruments? Are they musical as well?
No. And I hope they don't watch this. They are not talented. They have no talent. No, because my brother played the drums.
Okay.
But my mom, she was is a choir director. And she, bless her heart, I don't know where I got the ability to sing from. Let me just put it like that. But
oh my goodness!
But everybody is super smart. Everybody in my family was doctors and nurse anesthetists. I can't even say it. PhDs. You had to get a master's degree to eat at the adult table in my family. Again, Nigerian. Yeah. And so I have my master's from NYU in music, which is nice, but honestly, it was just getting out there and doing it that got me to where I am. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So what was your first job before you fully put your foot into your music career? What was the thing?
What was that job?
Yeah, what was your bridge?
I worked at the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
Oh my, engineering. Surprise!
Out of school. Yeah, I know, right? So it was a job. It was a federal job. It was under the Obama administration. So calm down, everybody. But but it was, it was a lot because, when you work at that kind of a federal job, at least back when I worked there in the 20-teens, the quote good old day, pre-COVID, your whole life was kind of trajectoried. It's every year you do this, the next year is that, next year is that. So I was like, no, this is not going to be my life. My life is going to be what makes me happy. And music made me happy. And I remember at one point I was just completely miserable at my job. I was dealing with ableism and, all of the thingisms as the workplace does. And I was like, well, if I'm going to be miserable anyway, may as well be miserable doing what I love. So I left, and it was scary. I didn't have no health care. I didn't have no PTO no more. But I jumped into the deep end, and, you know, I remember I did my first gig, which was an online gig via Sound Better. I don't know if you ever heard of Sound Better.
Sound Better, no.
It's like a marketplace where musicians put up what they can do, and then people hire them.
Okay.
So some guy hired me for $75 to sing over his track. So I took the money. I had my crappy mic, and I tried to sing over his thing. And I sent it to him, and he was like, so this, I'm sorry, what's your name? Okay, Lachi. Yeah, this is really bad.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, no. He's like, no, you can sing, but your mic is bad. Your setup is bad.
It was just the tech.
It was the tech. So he's like, I'm going to try again. And so I did my best with the tech I had. And then he was like, okay, this is doable. So I got paid the $75. And with that, I bought a better mic.
Okay.
And then that just kept being what the flow was. Eventually I started getting into big studios, bigger and better rooms, and just got scooped up by a major management firm, and that was it. That started around 2017 when I got scooped up.
Wow.
And here we are today.
So what was it like for you, and what is it like for you navigating the music industry in all these different rooms as a blind woman, also as a blind Black woman?
Well, I talk about this in my book, so pick it up. So navigating the industry was really interesting because it's not necessarily accessible. Let's say, for instance, like Hollywood, we complain about it not being accessible. Corporate America, we complain about it not being accessible. But they are kind of trying. Like, they know there's a problem, even though they're not doing anything about it. Whereas in the music industry, they don't even know that there's an issue here because there really isn't anyone in the industry either prominent enough to really make it an issue, or those with disabilities that do make it out don't really make it out with a community stance in mind, right?
Yeah.
So as I was navigating, getting into these bigger and better rooms, I started to realize, like, okay, I'm going to get to work in a session at Warner. Like, I want to do my best. And so just to be sure that I could do my best was when I started to go to these studios and go to these places and talk about my accommodation needs. Because before then I was doing my best till I hide it. And, you know, I wanted people to feel comfortable. And, you know, I was sighted passing at the time. My vision is much worse now. And so I was doing my best to make everybody else feel comfortable. Yeah. But then it was like a shooting me in the foot because I wasn't doing my best. And I'm like, bro, I got to get invited back. And so I would rather make you feel a little weirded out in the beginning, but at the end you're like, okay, I got you. That's okay.
Yeah.
The vibe, right? As I got into the Recording Academy and, you know, which runs the Grammys, and some other like more prominent situations, I was emboldened enough at that time because now I'm confident, I'm getting real gigs, I'm working with household names. I started to be confident enough at that time to be like, okay, look, what are you guys doing for accessibility? Not in a combative way, but I was like, you know, listen, I'm blind. And so they're like, okay, well, not much, but now that you're here, can we talk to you about what we can do? And I got to give the Recording Academy its props. They were very yes and, because I came in, I had my pedigree, right? So I'm not just coming in here saying like, well, because I'm disabled, you have to do these things.
You came in with receipts.
I came in with receipts, and I came in with respect.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was where it really took off when we started doing some webinars and some online discussions with the Recording Academy about accessibility, that I was able to really start to make an impact and to make a difference. And eventually Ramped was formed, which I know we'll talk about later. But nowadays, because I was able to build that platform, it makes it a lot easier for me to navigate. I mean, right now I'm a Grammys trustee. I'm the CEO of Ramped. I'm on many music industry boards. So I'm not known when I walk in. But when I first started, you know, it was rough. It was tough to try to hide who I was. Yeah. Get invited to places and kind of have to, you know, stand in the back, not really able to see and not know anybody, right? Not know how to talk, not know how to act.
Because it's already hard enough to networking is hard, hard, specifically in the music industry, though. Yes. That's a whole nother level of.
Well, the music industry is like, hello, exploit me, right? Yeah. So you're saying I'm valuable enough to be exploited, which is weird because it's like, well, you shouldn't want to be exploited.
No, but yeah. Exploit me, please.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what the music industry is. So it is a very strange place where you have to like wear yourself on your sleeve, which you guys comedians, y'all
we put it out there.
you know. But at the end of the day, like, you know, I think it's about finding your authentic self, because fortune really does favor the authentic.
Amen. I mean, I found that just like you, when I was a radio personality for a very long time.
You got the voice for it.
And thank you. And when I did that, like, I did not really recognize my disability.
Sure.
I didn't acknowledge it.
Yes.
You know, if I needed help, I would say I need help with something. But for the most part, I would go out of my way to not ask for anything special.
Yes.
And in doing that, I was doing myself a disservice, and I was doing my co-host a disservice, because when you dance around the subject, then you just make things a little bit more difficult when the time comes that an accommodation needs to be met.
Exactly.
And I found the more that I started to embrace it and out loud say, hey, I have a disability. I might need a little bit of help with this. I have a disability, and this is how, you know, I need the navigation for this thing.
Right.
And it just makes things easier. And again, like you just said, being honest with myself and staying true to myself. As soon as I did that, my career in every aspect started to take off more.
Well, because, you know, when you are accepting of your disability, especially from a place of authenticity, not necessarily a place of like, I'm disabled and I'm angry at the world. Right?
Yeah.
Just from a place of authenticity, a place of accommodation, you really start to attract people who wish they could be that. Like, once you take that mask off, everybody else realizes, well, I'm masking. And then they look at you as like, holy shit, I want to, can we say that?
Yes, you can say it.
I've been like trying so hard to avoid cussing because I didn't know we could.
You can cuss.
Oh, so bitch, look. So
once we talk about our movie, we're really going to be cussing up.
Okay,
so
got you.
Get comfortable there. Go ahead.
But yeah, this idea of unmasking and being able to just be yourself really does start to attract to you everything you've always wanted.
It absolutely does.
It really does.
I had a young lady that I had known since she was a teenager, and she transitioned, and she's a trans woman, and she went into my DMs and she said, you and your journey inspired me, because by watching you, it let me know that I can pursue my dreams and what I want to do. And it blew my mind, because I had no idea the way that you can inspire someone in a way that doesn't even have anything to do with disability.
Right.
But it is about being honest with yourself.
Because at the end of the day, like, who are we really doing all this shit for? That's one of the things I realized as I'm running around trying to like put all these masks on and put all these faces on. Once you take all that shit off, you're like, who was I actually doing? Like, who are you for me to have to wear a mask at? Like, you ain't nobody, so why? You know what I'm saying? It's
Absolutely.
Like, so at the end of the day, you know, it's about being true to yourself and serving yourself first. Because once you can do you good, you can do everybody else good.
You got to fill up your cup so that you can pour some for everyone. Oh man, Lachi, this is so good. All right, we're gonna take a little break and come right back and get into it.
Let's do it.
How do you have the audacity, the gall, to be able to sing and be such an incredible lyricist at the same time? Like, why you got to be doing all that? Like,
well,
why?
listen, I woke up one morning, and in fact, it's not even I woke up one morning. It's I woke up. You get what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Mike. But honestly, really what it is, you know, for a long time, I was signed to different managers on my come up, and I was doing whatever they kind of told me to do, right? It's like, oh, you should do more of a, you know, alternative thing. You should do piano and this and that. And I never really felt myself. And I wasn't out about my disability. So COVID came out about my disability, jumped all the way into this advocacy, all of this stuff, started really getting confident. And then I was like, I want to do the kind of music I think is fun. I want to sing the kind of songs I think are fun. And I want to have the subject matter that I love, which is people disproving folks that underestimated them. I mean, that's my whole life, is just disproving underestimation.
Amen.
So I'm like, I want to rap about that. I want to sing about that. I start putting that out. All of a sudden I start going viral on Instagram. the gays, the drag queens, like my family.
You're giving some you're giving some bops and you're giving some drops. We're giving some reasons to drop to the floor.
Okay.
I would hurt myself if I did the drops to the music like it needs to be done. But I mean, yeah, the dance tracks are insane.
Well, again, I think it's the subject matter too. I mean, you know, we're all underestimated in some way. We're all sometimes feeling like we have to disprove something. And we get to a point where we're like, you know what? I'm done. I know I'm dope. So why am I constantly doing this? And that's what my songs are saying. And I think people are just feeling it.
Out of your music, what's your favorite dance track?
Out of my music?
Yeah.
Well,
it's tough. I know. It's hard.
Personally, I think I do really good lyricist work with Life on Heart.
This shit really ain't that hard.
Okay.
When Big playing Life on Hard. Came late, ended up in charge. Cause this shit really ain't that hard.
Just because I go hard, I go in, and it doesn't stop. Like there's no breath.
Yeah.
Like we just go, and I'm just like,
song.
I think every line is like a one-liner. But I will say, I feel like, you know, people are really feeling the bag. Every time I put the bag out, it goes viral. And, you know, celebrities have been endorsing the bag. You know, super drag queens, folks who've won RuPaul's Drag Race have been endorsing and using the bag. So I love the bag as well because it's clever, it's funny, it's fun. But I got to say, I mean, Life on Hard, I'm doing it. Well, life is hard.
Life is hard.
I'm winning the game of Life on Hard. Can y'all give that one more love, please?
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. It's so funny because I was telling Emily like last week, like I was walking home, and like life in New York is hard.
Yes.
New York living is so freaking hard. And if you are a person with a disability who is out here in these New York streets, thriving and walking and getting to these subways and on these buses and the subway missed and then the elevator won't work.
And paying those hungry rent checks.
Paying those hungry rent checks. If you were out here doing it like that in New York City with any kind of difficulty, you know, you really get life is hard.
You really can make it anywhere. One other shout out to my track I'm That, which we just released a couple weeks ago. And what we're doing is with the Instagram, we're just running around the streets of New York, filming ourselves, just kind of going. And we've been getting so many comments of folks going like, I wish I could bump into you. That would be so cool. Or we'll get comments like, hey, I saw you when you were filming that, which is kind of a little like, okay. But like you should have came over and say, hey, like, what's up with that? Why are you doing it in the comments?
New Yorkers, because New Yorkers, you know, you don't want to be bothered.
My name Bennett.
Yeah, I ain't in it. I got to get to the D train.
Yep.
That's it.
It's like, I got to get to work, bro. Yeah. Like, do you though? I love what you're doing, but I'm going to work.
Yeah. Yep, love it. So you've worked with some amazing artists. Let's name drop.
Yes.
Snoop Dogg.
Yes, we have done stuff with Snoop Dogg. We've done stuff with Apple to App. We've done stuff with Black Caviar, a huge duo in the dance music space. And so many like other names that I'm blanking on right now. We've done stuff with Marcus Schultz, Armin van Buuren, et cetera, ... Yes. And Evie Oddly we've worked with, who was a winner of a past RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yes.
And it's just been really beautiful and fun and tons and tons and tons of amazing producers.
Yeah.
So I count my blessings with every room I'm in. And I have to say, most folks that are really out here doing it, most of these names, super professional in the studio.
Love to hear that. Okay. If you could make a song with any artist, living or dead, we have a special time machine to go back and grab them and pull them into current times.
Somebody.
You know, who would that be?
So first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to one of my disability ancestors, Blind Tom Wiggins, who was an amazing pianist, highest grossing pianist in the 19th century. Not just highest grossing Black pianist or highest grossing blind pianist, but highest grossing pianist throughout the entire 19th century.
Wow.
Super talented, and would have loved to be able to work with him in some way or capacity, especially being that he was like the birthing of the sort of Black blind musician trope. Okay. Talk about him in my book as well. And living, I would probably have to say SZA right now, because first of all, I love SZA to death, but also SZA endorsed the bag. So shout out to SZA.
Okay, Sis. Hey,
okay, Sis. But, and I don't want to start no beef with nobody. I know people like different fan bases, like different people, but I'm going to stick with my SZA answer because she is super sweet also and very
she's
talented.
Hello.
And she's hilarious.
Great actress as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to my black sister over there and to my my black brother of yore, Tom Wiggins.
Okay, well, I endorse your endorsements.
Thank you. Okay, I was really hoping for that.
But growing up, musical-wise, who did you look up to as a musician when you were a kid?
I looked up to Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation is like a Bible. Yes. Every single lyric, right? I know every word. And it was so funny. I just played it the other day and I just said every single word. I was like, damn, I really did know every word.
Yeah, it's ingrained. It's ingrained. If you are anybody who was in the hip hop music world in the 1990s, late 1990s, you have to. Yeah, you have to. Tattooed in our heads.
Period. And Alicia Keys, Missy Elliott, but there's so many amazing people of today that I love as well. I mean, Doechie's out here doing her thing. I also really love. I know Doja's having some issues with her fan bases, but she is super talented. There's so many really talented rappers and singers out here really paving the way for a lot of us that I look up to and I think are doing amazing stuff that Nicki is really good. She's great. Cardi is very fun, has a lot of energy. And I got to say, I can't wait till the day I'm famous enough to beef with both of them.
Maybe you can be a bridge between the two, so there can be no more
girl, like, come
that would
on.
be wonderful.
Y'all both invited.
Yes, let's do that. I love the fact that we are in an era of music for Black women where you can be both. You can be a talented lyricist and a talented vocalist and also a talented producer, and there doesn't have to be just one anymore.
It doesn't have to be Lizzo out here doing all, exactly.
Yeah, it's way, way, way overdue. Love it.
Yeah. Speaking of producing, first and foremost, Life on Hard, and a few others like Professional, a few of the songs that I have out right now. I produced the track. Okay. So I got in the little ones and twos and did the boobity boops. Yeah. So I'm really, really proud of that. I mean, especially as a as a woman, first of all, but as a blind woman, I mean, navigating these knobs aren't the easiest.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. But then also I wore my sort of executive sort of record production hat for an album that I did with an amazing, talented artist called Chris Redding. The album is called The Colors in My Mind. And it was his foray into talking about his own neurodivergence and his son's neurodivergence. So he came to me to be a part of it. And I was like, oh, me? But I was really, really excited for the opportunity to be able to record produce someone else's art. Yeah. Which is kind of like the next step. You know, I've always, been a songwriter. I've collaborated often, but to be able to kind of overarchingly record produce, it was such a beautiful experience. It's almost like a soul meets new age kind of vibe to it. He's got this amazing voice. He had this beautiful concept. And so I jumped in and I'm now flexing my sort of executive production hat when it comes to music as well.
Yes, awesome. That's very boss.
Yes.
Given Missy Elliott, Alicia Keys there. Yes, wonderful. Love it. Okay, so hey, it's Not Even Like That podcast. I'm your host, Pavar, and my wonderful guest, Lachi, is here.
Hey, fam.
And the point of It's Not Even Like That is to talk about how the media portrays disability versus what it's really like for disabled folks. Yeah. And so we emailed you ahead of time and we asked, what film is it that you want to talk about? Sure. What film got it right? What film got it wrong? TV show? What it is? What do it look like to you? And so you chose two films.
Yes.
You chose Freaks.
Yes.
From 1932.
Yeah.
And you chose The Best Years of Our Lives from like 1948.
Yeah, roughly? Right after World War II.
Yeah, right after World War II. Now, Freaks was really, really interesting.
Yes.
First of all, tell me why you chose the film.
Well, again, I talk about this in my book. But, I wanted to focus on authentic representation. Because we talk a lot about inauthentic representation because there's so much inauthentic representation in the sense of, folks often get it wrong because there's not enough folks behind the scenes with disabilities calling shots. There's not enough representation in front of the scenes calling the shots. And then if they do have a disabled characters, often they're not authentically cast.
Yeah.
So I wanted to choose those films because the directors of both of those films made it a point, and I will preface by saying both directors were non-disabled, or at least identified as such, but they made it a point to have someone authentically cast, or at least several authentic cast members, and it made for such a beautiful fourth dimension, sort of fifth dimensional element to the film that you're no longer just watching a story. It brings in reality to that story.
Yeah.
Right? Because you recognize that this person is bringing their lived experience to the film, not just the idea of the experience, right?
Yes.
And so they do a great job. And I'll quickly go over the best years of our lives, and then I want us to go probably a little deeper into Freaks.
Yes.
But in the best years of our lives, it was beautiful because the lead, they had three men. The movie is about how three men come back from World War II and they have to try to get their lives together, hurry up and be okay, right? And one of the men had hooks for hands, right? And they actually authentically cast this man with two hooks for hands. And in the opening scene, he signs a paper.
Here you go, sailor.
Sign in at that. I'll do it for you.
What's the matter? Think I can't spell my own name?
No, I just thought that.
I know, sir.
He lights a round of cigarettes, and they don't skirt away from the discussion, and they bring it up here and there, but it's not overly done. And they get it kind of right. And after this movie comes out, they wipe out the Oscars. I mean, they just clean out the Oscars.
Really?
Yes. So the lead actor, Harold Russell, with Hooks for Hands, actually took home 2 Oscars for the same role, right? Which has never been done before and never been done since.
How
is that possible,
Yes.
right? So you ask. Actually, what ended up happening was the film, like the Academy, they assumed that he wouldn't win. He was nominated, but they assumed he wouldn't win. So they put together like an honorary award to be like, he, helped with, vets and disability and this and that, because they assumed he wasn't going to win. So it was almost like a PR sort of do-gooder thing. And then he does win because it was good.
Yes.
Because he did a great job as an actor. And he wasn't even an actor, honestly. So that was his first role. Wins 2 Oscars, takes them both home. And I mean, it just shows that extra layer of authenticity, people wanted it. They needed it, especially after World War II.
Yeah. And the amazing thing is, them recognizing him and giving him that award was so ahead of the time.
Yeah.
In terms of, really paying attention to, the true struggle that a person who's newly disabled has to go through.
You would think in the you would think this is the 1940s, right? And then the next time we start seeing such Oscar wins from people authentically disabled is, we got to go to Marlee Matlin, which is, how many years later?
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of grief.
Yeah. 40 years later. Easily.
Yeah. It's like how many roles were lost or inauthentically played that we had to sit through for 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Wow. So. Wow. Well, thank you for that. All right. Now we got to talk about Freaks.
Yes.
So Freaks is a film that is set in 1932, and it is about a family of circus folk, if you will, and the struggles that they go through romantically, friendship-wise, family-wise, financial, if you will, and dastardliness. For lack of a better term.
Look, working in the circus already is going to probably be tough.
Yeah.
Just the dynamic of, whoever runs it, versus those who are actually in it. I can only imagine it's a tough class, right? But the beauty of Freaks is that they actually cast a ton of authentically disabled people, right? Of different disabilities.
Yeah, a huge range of disabilities. And I know, clearly the term freaks in 2025 is a problematic term. It's not something that we use to, refer to people who have disabilities. But during this time, we're talking about a time when there were ugly laws on the books. And if you're not familiar with ugly laws were basically set up to make sure that people with disabilities were not seen or heard outside of their house because you did not want to be seen, because it would be believed that if you're outside, you have a disability, it must mean you're begging.
Right, exactly.
You know, so it was criminalizing disability, criminalizing poverty, criminalizing homelessness, all those things in one by passing ugly laws that actually were in effect from 1864 until 1974 in some places, which is crazy.
Which is like the other day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, another interesting thing, too, about this film at the time it came out, like, and then this is like the height of institutionalization, right? There wasn't ratings at this point. This was like a point in time where there weren't like film ratings.
PG.
All of
PG,
that. So
rated R,
people were just going in and just doing massive amounts of movies that are just interesting. So this was a very specific carve out of a thing that would have been very difficult to talk about even just a couple years later. I think the ratings started in like 39. So they were able to really talk about these things. And I got to say, I mean, the actors and actresses they were not only like super talented, but they were gorgeous. There was a good-looking crew.
That is, yes, absolutely. Emily and I said some of the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's also really interesting because they were given an opportunity to play, like you said, their authentic selves, and they came in and they crushed it, and they educated, I'm sure, masses of people who would never, because of those ugly laws, have seen them.
Yes. And
ever.
And the beauty, and I don't want to, guys, go home and watch Freaks. It's really, really good. So I don't want to give too much away, but I give a little
spoiler
tizzle.
alert.
But if it essentially pits the group, the sort of band of disabled circus workers against some sort of almost the non-disabled villains.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of the disabled sort of the heroes versus the non-disabled villains, and it allows folks to empathize. There was one of the lines was he says something like, "I'm a man, but they don't see me as a man, and I have the same feelings they have."
I have the same feelings. This is Hans.
Yes,
I am man. They don't see me as a man. I have the same feelings as a man.
They don't realize I'm a man with the same feelings they have.
Yo, you are dead on, Hans.
Yeah, dead on Hans.
You are dead on.
So Hans is a little person who is, we can give this part away. Spoiler, it came out in 1932. All right. Hans is a little person who is in love with the trapeze artist who is average height person. Yeah, average height woman named Cleopatra. Yes. And Cleopatra sees her opportunity in Hans because is Hans the ringmaster of the circus?
Hans,
I'm not really sure what his job was
really
with the circus.
I don't think that mattered.
Yeah, but we do know what we do know is Hans has coins. Hans got coins, and Hans also has a fiance who is a little person as well, named Frida, who is over the moon in love with him and is adorable. She's a beautiful, smart woman who is all about her man. And then what does Hans do?
Yeah, men ain't shit.
Men ain't shit. 1932 still.
I'm like, yeah. But anyway, so he is interested in this non-disabled woman. She takes advantage. And if you've ever heard and so the beauty of it is at one point, the rest of the disabled circus group want to accept her in.
Yeah.
And this is like a super pivotal discussion on disability. Like when we talk about disability, everyone is always welcome because you are either going to become a full-time disabled person later in life, or you are right now and you just don't know it or you don't want to accept it.
Amen.
But you are part of our group. And so this is a beautiful sort of juxtaposition of that. They want to welcome this non-disabled woman in. And this is where you get that really famous term, Gooba Gabble, one of us. That actually comes from this film.
I had no idea because when they started saying it, I was like,
"You're like, that's where that's from."
I've totally heard this before. But
you know what the thing is? When people say that, they always say it in like a scary way, right? Gooba Gabble, one of us.
Yeah.
But it was actually such a beautiful, inclusive.
Like a chant. It was like it was very much like a loving chant to bring her in.
Yes.
And of course the woman was, again, she was the villain, so she did not accept it in the way that she just didn't accept it. Yeah. But the saddest part was Frida. The girl who loved him so much, having to sit there at the reception and see her man be with this bitch, this horrible woman, who we'll just say at the end she gets her comeuppance. She in a very weird way, which I still don't understand.
Really, like watch it all the way to the end, please. What?
Yeah, but you're gonna root for Frida.
Yeah. And she did so well. They both did, Hans and Frida and a few of the other characters. They just did so well. Yeah. They did so well. And that's why that film, I mean, it's won its place in film and movie history as well as Academy history as well. So.
And you know what you said about the fact that the people in the film got to show their authentic selves.
Yes.
And it was the way it was directed was so interesting because there was just a lot of just like a still shot.
Yes.
Of just watching, for example, there was a black man. The one black man in the movie, which was a big deal because it was 1932.
This scene you're about to talk about.
So there's a black man and he doesn't have arms or legs, but what he does know how to do is light that joint.
Yep, because he's still an older black man.
He's still an older black man.
He knows how to light that joint.
Yeah, and I when I saw it, I was like, wait, is that Reefer? What was happening in 1932? And they showed us, he just did it, and he did it so casually while he was having a conversation.
Talking to somebody else.
While he was talking, I was like, wow, now that is something that you would see now on social media.
And people say potheads are lazy.
No.
This guy, no arms, no legs. He managed to figure it out.
I don't even know who his weed man was. I would love to know. How was he? How traveling circus? I guess they find it in.
They know.
But it was really great. So with that scene, then there was a scene with one woman. She doesn't have arms, so she uses her legs and feet to facilitate what she needs. And it was like so casually. It was it was really beautiful because it was just like a little slice of life.
Yes, exactly.
With object work.
The beauty of it is like that scene with the man who lights his cigarette, that could never be inauthentically done.
No.
Or maybe they could do it with AI today, but
no.
But that could never be inauthentically done. And to watch a authentically double amputee put that together, there is like, it's not even like, aw, it's like, yo, that's badass, right?
Exactly.
It adds that dimension. You're no longer watching a story. You're experiencing someone else's lived experience.
You hit it on the nail. You really don't feel that in that moment where he's lighting that cigarette and having that conversation, you don't feel sorry for him. You're just like, oh, look at him lighting that joint.
Okay.
Also, again, I was mainly like, where did he get that joint?
Yeah, you were like, who's your weed guy in the 1930s?
So many things. But yeah, so there's that. Then there's the woman who's the double MC with the arms.
Yes.
And then there was also the young man, the handsome young man who just had the torso and the arms.
Yes.
Who turned out to be a badass with a gun later on.
Yes.
And then the conjoined twins.
And the conjoined twins.
Their scenes gave us some great comedy that was like so smartly written, and not making fun of them, but just like smart, just
well written. Because honestly, like at the end of the day, these are folks who, if it was written in a way they felt was inauthentic to them, they had the opportunity to say, hey, let's switch it like this a little bit, right? Whereas folks who are, if they're inauthentically playing it, you wouldn't know not to say certain things or not to do certain things. And that's the beauty of having it authentically cast. But God, there was one other thing I was going to say. There is also like the discussion of the sideshow, right? Of the exploitation that was happening. I think they also did a great job of really towing the line of like autonomy versus exploitation, which is also a big discussion in the disability community today, especially as it pertains to either little people or blind folks or autism and the neurodivergence that they're showcasing on television and stuff like that. I just thought that they did a wonderful job of kind of skirting that discussion too in this film. Yeah,
and it reminded me of like Hacks. Do you watch Hacks?
I don't.
Oh, I love Hacks.
But I will.
Yeah. So there is an episode of Hacks where the lead character, what is the lead character in Hacks? What's her name? Deborah. So Deborah Vance is a very rich Joan Rivers type of character. Okay. She's been a comedian for 40 years. Okay. And she has her big Halloween annual Christmas party. And she had hired little people to play the elves. And so the woman who is her comedy writer shows up and she's like, you have them do that? That's exploitive. And Deborah's response is, they're here because they want to work.
Right.
They're choosing to do this.
Right.
So then that gets into the conversation of, just like in Freaks, opportunity to be on screen, opportunity to show your authentic self in Freaks, and then the opportunity that these little people had as actors in Hacks.
Right.
And then that gets into the whole conversation that there just was about the Oompa Loompas and the new Charlie and the new Willy Wonka and the elves.
Right.
And then, the dwarves and Snow White.
Snow White.
The remake of Snow White.
Well,
and opportunities for work and whether or not people choose to go for those roles.
Especially for fantasy roles, right? I mean, when we talk about the magical, mystical, disabled person, right? You get everything from blind folks having, oracle powers.
I was just about to say the oracle.
You have the like Hollywood autism, where it's like someone with autism can tell the future, or you have again the fairy tale little people. And the problem with that is that why is it that the only roles available oftentimes for little people are these roles? I would love to see. In fact, I was just recently rewatching 30 Rock the other day, and I came across that episode where Tina Fey's character and Peter Dinklage's character try to go on a date, and he ends up not liking her because she's weird. And
classic
Liz Lemon. But the beauty of that episode in that role was, they didn't skirt the discussion of, the height difference, but also, I mean, he wasn't playing a fantasy role or just Peter Dinklage's role in Wicked, where he's not part of the Oompa, what are they called in
the Munchkins?
The Munchkin folks, but he voices the goat professor, which was...
I didn't even realize he was the voice of the goat.
I knew it the second he opened his mouth.
I was 8 years old when I
was like, no, that is Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, when people come up to me and they say, oh, you're blind, you must be able to read palms.
They really say this?
Not exactly, not word for word, but they'll say things like, oh, you must,
or can you hear really well?
You must be able to like use bat circumlocution or whatever. And I'm like, I'm not a bat, I'm a baddie. Pronounce it right.
Yes.
But I'll take your palm and I'll be like, you will no longer watch inauthentic or support inauthentic representation. And they're like, that's what's in my future? And I'm like, yes. So
because you learned a lesson today.
Because you learned a lesson today, and the more you know.
Talented. So we have to talk about the latest thing that you have coming out besides the music, which is this amazing book that you've written.
Yes, girl. Boom. Hey.
I Identify as Blind by Lachi.
Yes. This is it. This is her. This is the baby. The cover has a ton of colors, just like me. Very bold title because I am bold, and I identify as blind. It's a brazen celebration of disability culture, identity, and power. And we go into a lot of really, really great things with this book.
Yeah. So there's various stories in the book.
Yes.
It's not just like, it's not a straight novel in the way that you would.
It's not it's not like a memoir. Honestly, this book is essentially a pop culture book. So really what we do is, what I do in this book is I discuss how disability identity has really shaped innovation, shaped culture, shaped our history, and shapes our entertainment in ways that we haven't realized.
Ooh.
So I use like historical deep dives, pop culture commentary, my own stories, the stories of our heroes of yore, as well as interviews with some really cool, folks with disabilities and neurodivergences of today. So just like a quick example, I spoke with Senator Tammy Duckworth. I spoke with RJ Mitty of Breaking Bad. I spoke with Coldplay. So these are, Chris Martin has tinnitus. So those are just like a handful of examples of folks that we spoke with for this book. And it's just, it's fun. It's funny. It's a humorous book. A lot of times folks with the topic of disability is like kind of boring and like sad or medicalized.
Yeah.
So I wanted us to have a little fun with it. And that's what this book is.
Can you give me an example of innovation and how an innovation that was before for people with disabilities has helped shape our stuff.
Yeah.
Disabled.
First and foremost, there is the whole curb cut effect. Like just the whole idea of the curb cut effect. Almost every, in fact, this table is it was at some point an access measure. You know, and by the way, there's tables here, guys. In case you didn't know. Clothing is an access measure. Like everything is an access measure. If you actually sit down and think about it, everything was innovation, and innovation came from someone having to solve a problem. And this is why I say that folks with disabilities, I mean, I don't say this, everyone says this. Folks with disabilities have like the ultimate problem solving muscle.
Yes, I always say we hack. We know how to make a hack. We will hack anything to suit us. That is, my friends say it all the time. Like, if I can't comb my hair on this side, I find a way to get something to help me do that. Like we have a hack.
Right, because we're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
But we have to navigate the world a little differently. And if you think about it, that's really the definition of innovation, is folks who are looking at a different way to navigate something in order to solve that problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you got to talk to Coldplay and Chris Martin, which is, I just need to know more about that, because this is before the Jumbotron situation.
Yes. You know what? Coldplay is good at getting CEOs fired.
That's their jam.
You know, Coldplay has always been very sustainable. But I think it did start with Chris Martin getting tinnitus and receiving the gift of having a sub pack, which is sort of a pack someone who's hard of hearing or deaf can wear to have the beat brought right onto their chest or their back, or wherever they're wearing the pack. So it started with Coldplay wanting to introduce sub packs for deaf folks at their concerts.
Yes.
And then it just really started to open up. They wanted to have sign language. They wanted to have raised risers for folks with disabilities to be able to watch the show and not either way far off or too close that they have to look too far up. So they have the raised risers. They have touch tours, which is where blind folks can go and experience the stage and experience other things, merch, etc., as well as the instruments before the show. And I got to go actually experience a touch tour. It was so great. And you get to meet with some of the folks. And I ended up bringing two of my really good friends, Andrew Barkan and Molly Burke. And we got to do that touch tour. So there's just so much that they include. They also include different aspects for folks with different sensory situations. They even have like a quiet room for folks with sensory situations. So they like really try to make their shows as sensory inclusive and disability inclusive as possible. And it's something that we do at Ramped, which I want to make sure we get into at some point.
Yeah.
We throw these parties called DISCO houses, disability community houses, where we partner with like a Tidal or a Recording Academy or a Live Nation to just throw really swanky sensory inclusive parties. That's essentially what Coldplay kind of does at their concerts. And they don't necessarily advertise it. I tell them that they should, like,
They should.
They really should.
People need to know that this is an opportunity for them to get out and be a part of such an amazing experience.
But also for other artists to start to incorporate
follow suit. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. So, okay, Chris Martin, come through accessibility, Chris. But I identify as blind comes out when?
So this book comes out January 27, 2026. It is now available for pre-order. Like I said, we speak to so many amazing disability thought leaders, celebrities, actors, public figures. I talk about my own stories as well. So like I talk about how I started the whole glam cane phenomenon, as you know, my sparkly bejeweled glam canes. I talk about jumping out of an airplane. So when I first got my diagnosis that I was going to lose my vision, I went on like a bucket list situation where I was like, okay, I want to do all this stuff before I lose my vision, spelunking, jumping out of airplanes, all that. And then I realized, like, why stop there? Like, if I do lose my vision, I want to
still have to experience.
I still want to keep experiencing these things. I talk about, we talk about the PBS series that we did, Renegades, which, to be honest, it's so funny. So while I was writing this book, I was actually filming for Renegades. And so Renegades is like a PBS American Master series about disabled heroes past and present that are unsung. So go check that out. But we were filming it while I was writing.
Wow.
So I was on deadline, and I'm writing this book as we're sort of like on planes and in hotels. I remember at one point, because I have super low vision. So I had my laptop blown way up. Like, it's like you can see like 4 words at a time, like while I'm typing.
Yeah.
And so I was typing about an incident, which you'll read more about this in my book, but there was an incident between Joe Biden and I.
Joe?
Yeah, but Uncle Joe.
Oh, Uncle Joe.
Uncle Joe.
Okay.
Yeah, Uncle Joe. There was an incident between Uncle Joe and myself that's weird and hilarious. And I'm typing it out.
I can't wait to read this.
And the person sitting beside me is laughing. Like, because they're just reading it because it's so large. And I was like, bitch, you gotta buy the book. Okay.
Privacy.
But I'm writing it on the plane, and it was just, it's such a frenetic energy of like, let's get this book out, let's tell all these stories. And I gotta say, it came out to be this beautiful book. And the last thing I'll say too, that I wanted to make sure I said is that it's with Penguin Random House, which is obviously like the largest publisher, but the imprint is Phoebe Robinson, who is a Black woman herself. She is a comedian. I don't know if you know Two Dope Queens.
Phoebe. I love that. When you said, I'm like, Phoebe?
Phoebe.
Yes, I love Phoebe.
Who is hilarious.
Yes.
And super real, a huge feminist, all of that. It's her imprint.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, this makes me so happy.
Tiny reparations. And it's so funny because I don't know if it was her that said it or if it was one of my editors that said it. But it's like, just imagine like the Karenest of Karens, and they're walking down the street and they trip and they break their heel. That's a tiny reparation.
Just a little
bit of like, that was,
a little
God is
something.
like, that was for you.
Thank you.
But anyway, her imprint's called Tiny Reparations.
This is great.
It's coming out January 27, 26, right before the Grammys.
Okay. All right.
Very exciting stuff.
Grammys, of which, you could possibly be in the running. I'm just saying. But let's also talk about Ramped, because we've touched on it a little bit. So tell us exactly, for those of you who don't know, our friends who don't know yet, what is Ramped and how did you come up with it?
Sure. Ramped stands for Recording Artists and Music Professionals with Disabilities. And the best thing Ramped has ever done was that acronym, because that acronym is dope, bro. Okay? Like, for real, though. It's got it all in there.
Yeah.
But honestly, okay, so what Ramp does is we partner with music giants within the music industry to really bring, so essentially we equip the music industry with the tools, resources, and programming to support and empower music professionals with disabilities.
Great.
Whether they have disabilities, neurodivergence, chronic conditions, mental health conditions, Ramped is here to partner with the biggest giants in the industry to make sure artists and professionals who identify in this way are able to build career authority and financial stability without having to mask. That is, to be able to live out loud, if you want to or not, be openly disabled and not have to lose a gig, not have to lose a relationship, and be able to openly ask and, have your accommodations met. So we've worked with everyone from the Grammys to Country Music Awards to Netflix to Live Nation to Tidal to Spotify, like all of the bigwigs, putting a lot of these things out, including the disco houses, which I mentioned. We've done song camps, we've done mentoring, we do trainings, we do consultations. But one of the biggest things we do is cultivate this global network of recording professionals and music industry and sound professionals with disabilities, neurodivergence, and chronic conditions. And we're at a point where we have sort of 2 levels of membership. You're either peer vetted and you're a professional member, or you're a community member, and so you're not peer vetted. And so we have over 1,000 community members that we do a ton of community events with. And then we have over 100 professional members who are peer vetted sort of professionals navigating the space, who are out here established and are just done masking and want to find other people to collaborate with, find community with, and work towards visibility.
Oh, I love it.
And so I am the CEO and the founder. And it's just been some of the most beautiful situation. I mean, like I told you, I myself was navigating the industry sort of alone, thinking I was the only one. And then I realized, wait, I'm masking. So wait, there's got to be other people just here masking.
Yeah.
And when I put the word out, people are still putting their hand up. We're having executives raise their hand. We're having directors, label owners. They're raising their hand and they're saying, well, that's me too. I love the way that you can walk around and talk about disability with openness and joy. I want to be able to do that too. I love how you guys aren't masking. I want to be able to do that too. And when we do our consultations and our trainings for what we would perceive to be a non-disabled workforce, at the end of it, a lot of folks are going like, well, I have XYZ ... Am I a part of this amazing thing? And we're like, yes. And from these trainings, we get people sign up to be a part of our network. So it has been this beautiful, and I've been seeing changes. Oh, the last thing I'll say about Ramped. If any Joe Schmo knows us, it is because we brought sign language to the Grammys. So those
really,
yeah. So we're the ones that brought the sign language to the red carpet at the Grammys. It generally goes viral every year, but we also advocated for their accessible stage. So they have like a circular dais where if a wheelchair user wins, they can get up on that stage.
That's not it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and we've advocated for audio description, for captioning, for just ramps throughout, but also, the training and the consultations to make sure that the staff and the production folks are not only just aware of how to be more accommodating and disability inclusive to other artists or other staff, but honestly to themselves.
Yeah.
Because you have to recognize, like we both said, we were masking and putting things off to the side and doing a disservice to ourselves. So it was hard for us to serve others. And so we've been able to train up folks to recognize their disability identity within themselves, whether they identify as disabled or not, so that they can work towards building a better bridge for the people they serve.
I love it. And then it also allows them to treat people with more respect.
Yes.
When you understand that there are differences, and it's okay to recognize the differences and just treat people respectfully and recognizing. I'm going to assume that because you are so incredibly beautiful and talented and smart, that you probably have young people who reach out to you.
Yes.
Who've been through something similar, maybe losing their sight or finding themselves disabled when they weren't disabled before, or born with a disability. What does it mean to you when you have the next generation coming to you looking for advice or mentorship or just words of encouragement?
Yeah, it really kind of blows up my heart 10 sizes because I didn't really have that. I didn't really have someone that I could write an Instagram post to, or I guess back then it was Facebook, MySpace,
Facebook, AOL, chat.
It was exactly. I mean, Instagram was just starting, like when I was kind of, coming up, but I didn't really have somebody to reach out to and go like, how did you do it? I didn't have that role model.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't even have those heroes. Right. Now, later in life became a huge disciple of Judy Heumann. She became a close friend. R.I.P. Judy.
R.I.P. Judy.
But I didn't have that growing up. And so one of the reasons I formed Ramped was to help start creating this funnel of openly disabled and openly neurodivergent role models, right? Because it's not just me. I am a Black woman, but what if there's a young Latina with a disability that wants to see herself? Then we have folks like Natalice Rubero or Precious Perez who are out here being openly disabled, folks that I have met through my work with Ramped. And so when people reach out, it does make me feel very much like I am doing the thing I wanted to do, which is be the role model I wish I had for my 8-year-old self. But oftentimes, the question is, how are you so happy? I'm disabled, this is tough. This is hard. There's gotta be like down times. And I have to tell you, like, listen, everybody's going to have times where they wake up and the crown is a little off to the side, right? And they need to get it kind of straightened up and put back on right. But the truth of the matter is that I look at my disabilities as a point of strength because they're accommodated. And so this is why accommodation is so important. So like, let's say, for instance, I have ADHD, and when I'm accommodated, my ADHD helps me power my 1 million and counting ideas. I have OCD. And when it's accommodated, it helps me carry out those 1 million and counting ideas. I have general anxiety. And when I'm accommodated, it gives me empathy and excitement. I'm blind. And when I'm accommodated with my screen readers, my Zoom texts, my canes, my cute little canes, my sighted companion, I get to have the drive, the focus, and the determination that my blindness gives, and the cute ass canes that my blindness gives me because I'm accommodated. And when I'm not accommodated, that is when I'm swimming through life on hard. That is when my ADHD takes over. That is when my OCD is very difficult to manage because society, wasn't built for it to be managed.
Yeah.
And so this is why I have to work for my accommodations. But when I'm accommodated, because I overcompensated so hard on these skills,
oh man,
I'm just boo, hurry up. And then also I'm Nigerian.
that too.
Full circle.
Yeah. I always say when people do say things like, oh, you're so confident, and oh, it seems like your disability doesn't bother you. And, here's the thing. We all have anxieties. But my thing is, I'm alive no matter what. I have to live this world no matter what. Either way, I got to step out my door every day. So if I'm going to step out my door every day, if I'm going to hop on that stage, if I'm going to hop behind the screen, behind this microphone, behind this phone, whatever it is, I might as well do it in my best possible way, with the most confidence, with the most joy, the most zeal, the most gratitude, the most thankfulness to be here, to even be able to facilitate and do the things I do. If I have to do it, I might as well do it.
We all got invited to this banquet.
Do it.
We're all here. We're at the party.
We're here anyway.
So let's have fun.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for your support. Let us mainstream disability.
Yes. Thank you for coming in. Okay, the title of the book again is I Identify as Blind, out January 2026. Be ready, pre-order. How can people pre-order?
Lachi Music, LachiMusic.com. Click on books. It's right there. And it's also on the homepage as well. So please come check it out.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right. It's not even like that.